Hello, folks, and welcome to the final tier list of Blood Bowl 3rd Ed Edition. And today we're going to be talking about the sevens. Now, what are the sevens? You may never heard of them, or you may have heard of them but don't know much about them. Well, I'm here to tell you this. Now, the sevens is radically different to the main Blood Bowl because there's a lot of changes, and this could change a lot on how you play. So, as we can see here, this is the official rules. Now, before we begin, I am going to tell you all this right now. Most of these rules are old because we've not had the new ones yet. However, from what I'm hearing, it's going to be the same rules, just with a little bit of tweaking. So, first off, let us look at the pitch. As you could see, there's only one side lane, not many in the middle, but we have this area called the dead zone. Now, we're going to cover the rules on team creation and setup. Here, now I do apologize about this website, guys, but it's the only way I could get the stuff, so I apologize. But when we get past this, I'll continue. So basically, this is what we got here. Now, the rules are that 7 players are to set up per team or behind their own line of scrimmage. 1 player is allowed in each wide zone. That's massive. And a minimum of 3 players on each team must set up in the line of scrimmage, basically right here. And the kickoff determines that. So it tells you what they do, including skills, the area between the square stage. So basically, they've got to end here in the dead zone. So as you can see here, they've got all this. So here's some of the changes actually. We have charge. Yep, so they have some upgrades, but not many yet because we haven't got the proper upgrades yet. So basically, when the ball is kicked, it has to end in the dead zone. And that's where people have got to come and attack it. There's no scrimmage. Basically, no teams are together. That's important. Also, the game only lasts 6 per half. So this is quicker. So this is about speed, not brute force. Now, team creation is important. You only have 600 gold to play with. That's it. Star players or infamous coach, staff, etc. team are removed from the inducement lists, so you can't have them. So there's no star players. Keep that in mind. The others are still around. You must have 7 players in a team. You can have up to 11, and that's it. In addition, you have 4 specialist players. Now, what is 4 specialists, you may ask? Well, that's easy. Specialists are players such as, so I might as well let this go, are these. For example, like the humans, the catcher, the thrower, the ogre, the halfling, the blitzers. They are classed as specialists, while the linemen are your bread and butter. They can have as many as they want, but the others, only 4. Not only that, all rerolls are doubled. So, for example, like here, the humans would cost 50, now it's 100. And leader skills are banned. So basically, leaders not allowed. Now, that doesn't mean other teams can have tricks, but you are limited. Now that you're up to date on the rules, let's get back to here and talk about who would do well in this type of league. The Amazons. B tier. Now, we all know Secure Ball is going to be in 7s regardless. But it's the rest. Remember, you only got 600. This is where you will have to be very clever with your spending. You're going to pick up one of the big gals, the strength 4 gals. You're going to pick up one of them. You're going to pick up the thrower, and that's it. The rest, you're just going to bring up chaff and hopefully try and get a reroll. And this is why the Amazons would struggle because of that fact, because they won't have most of their best players. They will be a bit constricted, but their dodge will keep them safe from a lot of problems. The only problem is that in the sevens, if they start taking attrition issues, they start falling apart. But they are still a good team. Blackhawks. Yep, they start dropping. Now, the reason they drop is for two reasons. The Blackhawks themselves, I think they're nearly 100k each. And the Goblins, although cheap as they are, they will struggle. And also the fact the Blackhawks are too slow. By the time they reach to get to opponents, we're already like halfway through the half. Like I said, speed is more important than brute force. And even though the Goblins are fast, they need to rely on the Blackhawks to protect them. And we'll only probably get like 2. If they're lucky, they're going to have some issues, unfortunately. So if you're a fan of the Blackhawks, this is where they struggle. Bretonia. B. Now, the Squires are cheap, and yes, their wrestle's still good, but their positionals, however, are expensive. You're more likely to take the thrower and probably the Grail Knight, and that's it. Probably 2 Grail Knights and the thrower, and the rest will just be chaff. But you want to try and get 1 reroll to help with getting the ball. So they will suffer a lot because they will not get in the combat quick enough, but they're also... They've got good speed, but they're like the Amazons. They'll have their issues. Chaos Dwarves. D. Sorry, Chaos Dwarves, but you will struggle. Because you need more Hobgoblins. The Bull Centaurs chew a lot. Because they're 120. So 2 of them alone is 240. That's literally a third of your price gone. And we're not even gotten to the main other 5 players you're going to need. You might take, and you have to take mostly Hobgoblins. So you're relying on the Bull Centaurs getting the ball and hope to heaven they can get there without being taken down. This team's too slow. You're relying on the Bull Centaurs with Dixie much. You're relying on Hobgoblins getting the ball, getting to the Bull Centaur, and hope he can pass it. They're not good. Renegades. B. You really only need 2 players, 2 specials. The Dark Elf and the Thrower. The rest of the line is just there just to do one thing, hold the line. And they just do the rest. That's all you need. That makes them so hard to deal with. Chaos. Now, Chaos is interesting. You can just go full Beastman and just still be alright. I'm not joking. You could just go full Beastman and just be okay. Because Beastman, yes, they're about, I think, 70k, 75k, or 50k a pop. I think they're 55. Hang on a sec. I want to check this. Hang on a sec. Alright, so they're 55k a pop. So you could literally just go full Beastman and be good. Or you can go like, say, I could probably get about like 5 Beastmen and just have a couple of Chaos Warriors, and there you go. I'm laughing. I could try and get an upgrade, like a reroll, and I'm laughing. I mean, they will do fine. Not fast, but they'll do fine. Dark Elves. A. Now, hear me out. Yes, they're expensive. You're not going to see many blitzers, but you are going to probably see 2 Witch Elves, and just the rest just chaff, just to hold off so they can just run about and just go vim, 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 score and all that. This is where the Witch Elves are just going to have a field day in this format. And I may be wondering, what about that Agility 4? high movement from the Witch Elves. Yes, they're expensive, but you're willing to pay that. I mean, yes, you're going to have little to no rerolls, but you don't care. You've got GLD4. Anything but a 1 and you're laughing. So, yeah. They're going to do well. Dwarfs. See, speed is their problem. It's a massive issue. Yes, you've got a runner who's got sprint, but 9 to 10, he's going to be one of your main positions you're going to have to pick up. No question to ask. You're probably going to pick up 2 to make sure you've got 2 ball handlers spare. Your main blockers are expensive, so you're going to need at least 5 of them. And 2 runners. You're not going to get a Troll Slayer. You're not going to get a Blitzer unless you really want them, and you're going to have to wriggle around it. Your rerolls are going to be very sparse. You might get 1. If you're not, you're pretty much at the hand of the gods. But speed is their biggest issue, and plus the fact as well, like I said, you're only allowed 4 positionals. That is going to be a massive issue. Gnomes. Right, let's be honest. Movement 5, you're too slow. 2, you're relying on the Fox. He's going to be your main pick. You're not going to get a treatment because they're too slow. They're not going to get into combat quick enough. And if they root, I mean, they're good defense pieces, but they're not for offense. They have no dodge. And a smart player will look at that thing, all right, find the Fox, take it out, and that's it. That team just falls apart. Your team is relying heavily on that one player. And that's a big issue. Yes, the Fox is good, but the second the Fox, as soon as you see where that Fox is going, all right, I'll put 2 players to block him off. He has to go all the way around, and the second he comes open, boom. So, yeah. Gnome struggle. Goblins. They're decent speed, but it's what position you take. They are cheap, so you could go with 2 trolls, but you'll never take the weapons because of one reason, because they leave at the end of the drive. And given this game is about speed, you won't have enough time to use them. So you will be using probably just the Pogua, 2 trolls, and maybe the Doom Diver. And that's it. The rest, just normal goblins. Or you can just go all normal goblins and just 1 and 2 trolls. It's up to you. But they will still do well, but not as well as they should be. Halflings. Same as the goblins. You're going to take the treatment if you want to have a decent line out, but the treatment are useless because, well, they're slow. If you're on offense, they're not going to keep up with the rest of the halflings who are going to try and bomb the field to try and get a touchdown. Defense size, they're brilliant, but not for offense. So they have their issues. High elves. Again, the AG4 just trumps everything. Seriously, I mean, you would just get lots of the regular guys, a thrower, and that's it. That's all you need, just a thrower. The thrower to tell your teammate, bomb down the field, guys. The first person who's free, launch. That's all you need. Humans. Drop, isn't it? Now, why do humans go to B? Because they don't have the maximum of their potential. Now, you are going to take, let's be honest, you are going to take the thrower and the catcher. They're the 2 you're going to take definitely. But then you've got to make a decision. Do you go for a 3rd guy and risk having no rerolls, or take normal guys, because you're 50k a pop, and take a reroll, which will be 100k, but at least you've got something to keep you out of trouble. So this is where you've got to make a choice. Do you want to be a brawling brute, type of team, or do you want to be a passer? And also with team captain, this will give you some breathing room. Pure nobility. C. 3 reasons. Fend is useless. Because you're nowhere near anyone, you've got to get there. Buys me time. 2. Your positionals are expensive. So that's a problem. And 3, you're not going to get the maximum out of that team. You're not. Remember, you only got 600. So essentially, you are not going to get the maximum out of that team. You're going to get a lot of guys who fend and probably 2 players who's going to do the ball work. And that's never a good sign for that team. So they will struggle. Khemri. Listen, guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat with the Khemri. They're too slow. You're going to buy the throw raw of no questions. And the Tomb Guardians are too slow, too clunky, and easily could be dealt with. Just if you can catch one of them on his own and just keep away, he's just dead in the water. And speed's a big issue. They're not the fastest. So Khemri do struggle. Khorne. Right. And this is where it's interesting. You're going to take the Khornegors because they are good ball handlers. The rest of their chaff are cheap. But the question is, will you take a Blood Fiend or a Chaos Warrior to try and pad out and not take a reroll? It's still a decent team, but you will have your issues. You are going to be a BT. Lizardmen. Now, this is where things get a bit weird. You can forego the Shadow Skink and the Coxicore, but you need the Skinks. Could you get away with a couple of Sorai? Possible. But the Skinks aren't cheap either. So the question you must ask yourself, are you willing to take 2 Sorai and lots of Skinks, but risk not having a reroll? Or do you take 1 Sorai, but the rest Skinks, but that means your punching power is non-existent? They are fast. They are hard to bring down. But there's a lot of teams who are willing to take a hit to take one of them out. B tier. Yes, the Skinks are fast, but without support to protect them. And remember, you got to have 7 and you only got 600. You're not going to get the maximum you want. Because remember, Sorai are nearly 100k a pop. And to have a third of that for 2 players is a bit rough. Necromantic. Now, the zombies are cheap. But now you must make a decision. Do you go 2 werewolf and have a horde of zombies? Which means the zombies are slow and clunky, but are durable. But that means you're relying on the werewolves to perform most of the ball handling work. Or do you go with ghouls, which means they've got dodge already, a little slower than the werewolves, but they've got dodge and regen. Because let's be honest, guys, the flesh golems, useless. The ghosts, useless. Because you need the ball. Yes, they can get in there and cause a bit of havoc, but they're not fitted for this format. See? Yes, the werewolves can do a lot of work, but any smart player will see that and go, yep, I'm going to try and get that werewolf and just beat him to submission and say, yep, once I got that werewolf stunned or knocked out, just for the zombies who are too slow to get anything going. So Necromantic struggle in this league. They're not bad, it's just speed is their issue. Norse. B. Now you may be thinking, wait, they're better in this? The Drunkards are cheap, and all you really want to buy is just 2 Valkyries, and that's it. Similar to what I said about the High Elves, but they're a weaker version. And they could just run around the ball with the normal guys and just try and bat. I mean, you could get lucky and get a Yeti or go for a Berserker or Wolfen. But I would look at, do you want a reroll or do you want more players? This is what you got to look at. Nurgle. A B, same as Khorne and Chaos. You're going to take the Pestigore and probably take 2 bloaters just to defend. Yes, they're slow, but the rosters are cheap. You can get away with that. You might want a Rot Spawn or something. Whatever you choose to do, they are still a good unit. Yes, the rosters are a bit flimsy, but they can still hold their own. Ogres. Oh boy. D. Why, you may ask? Ogres are slow, bonehead issues, and the Snotlings are just slow as well and easy pick-offs. In fact, let's get straight to the Snotlings as well. D as well. For the same reason for the Ogres. And plus that, they cannot get star players. So they're relying on their pump wagons and their trolls to try and keep them out of danger. Yes, they'll get rerolls, but as soon as you start picking up the Snotlings, they just fall apart. Orcs. You're going to take the thrower regardless. It's a question of, do you want to take a couple of blitzers or the couple of big uns? That's the only question you got to ask about them. They're a solid B tier. They're good. They do what they do. The old world. Now, the old world in this do struggle because they can't get all their positionals. The only positional at 16 is the human lineman. So you've got to make a decision. Do you take the human route, which means you'll get a lot of humans, but not many on the dwarves, treemen, or halflings? And with that notion, they become a B tier because they lose a lot of their tricks. Because remember, 4 positionals, 600. Pro Elves, same as the others. Now, they are a bit weaker because of the fact of one reason. They don't have many positionals to begin with. And their armor is a tiny bit weaker than theirs. So this is where their little speed boosts could help. But if they get caught, they're in trouble because their passing is not as great as their greatest high elves, and they're not as doable as their dark elf cousins. Oh, they do have their issues. And they don't have players that are like uber, like they're gonna just dominate the field. They're like the low budget version. Are they good? Absolutely. Easy, high T B, low tier A at best, but high B because they do have their certain issues. Mainly cost. Skaven. A tier. This is where they're at their best. The gutter runners. Did I say more? Now, I know somebody say, well, you didn't say with Elizabeth, but the gutter runners are a little more durable. They've got their agility 4. They can just whiz around the board like it's nobody's business. And really, the Skaven linemen are cheap. You could just literally go, right, I'm going to have 5 Skaven linemen, 2 gutter runners, and a throwing Skaven, and I'm off to the races. That's all they need. They're off to the races. Yes, they're not as like constant as what these two are, but they're still good. This is where they're at their best. Undead. Right, you're going to take the ghouls regardless. You're going to take the zombies. You might get one right blocker or not for rerolls. But they struggle with speed. And unfortunately, in this game, like I said, you only got 6 turns. You cannot afford to stay still. You have to run as fast as you can down that pitch and try and get goals. And you're relying on the ghouls hopefully getting the ball and not get caught in no man's land. Underworld. Let's be honest, guys. You're going to take the goblins, but you're going to get the gutter runner and the thrower. And that's it. That's all you need. The runner and the runner and the gutter runner are just going to cause havoc, while the goblins are just there just to protect them. Though they won't like it, but that's how it's going to be. And the gutter runners, as I've said about the Skaven, are faster, but the only reason why they're lower is because the goblins are not sturdy. They tend to get a bit mushed a lot. Vampires. See, now you're going to take 2 vampires. That's a guarantee. Most likely the running vampire and the thrower. That's it. The rest is going to be thralls. They're cheap. The only thing you got to watch out for is Bloodlust, but other than that, they are a good team. But that's why they're down to C. The Bloodlust. Because if they have a Bloodlust, the vampires stop still, and it's like... Remember, you've only got 6 turns. So say, for example, on turn 5, like on turn 6, you're running, you just run a Bloodlust, you can't score. So this is a team that can do brilliant, but because of Bloodlust and the fact you only got 2 vampires keeping you there. See, then again, I think about it more. Now, I'm going to put back B, guys. B. BB. Because of that, I've just realized, yeah, hang on. They're still brilliant. They're still strength 4. It's just the Bloodlust is the biggest issue. So they'll go here. Wood Elves. Look, you're only going to take 2 players. Or 3 at most. You're either going to take the thrower, the war dancer, or the catcher. And 9 out of 10, we're probably going to see a thrower and a war dancer. That's it. No need for the catcher. The war dancer's there because block, dodge, leap. Absolute nightmare to pin. I mean, come on. That's pretty much how it works with this. With Wood Elves. This league is made for them. I mean, it is made for the elves, but the fact that Skaven are there, and like I said, these guys can still do it, but they are hampered by the fact they've lost many of their tricks because of the fact that, you know, the 4 positionals, no star players, and double the points for rerolls. That's where rerolls will get a bit sussy. Like I said with the vampires, yes, they've got agility 4, but because of the Bloodlust could absolutely just turn them upside down and just say, yeah, you're not doing anything. It's a bit of an issue. But anyway, folks, that's it for this this final list. What do you think? Do you agree what I've stated? Do you agree that some of these teams deserve to be where they are? Who would you think would be like the best teams in 7s? And also, what would you pick in your team? Who would you keep on to play in the 7s, and who would you ditch? Leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll see you later.